Hey guys, Cindy Williams here from careersonvacation.com. I wanted to just have a quick chat this morning. I had a client reach out to me a couple weeks ago and she was just struggling with some things and she was talking through, well, Cindy, how can you possibly understand? You already have these big travel companies, everything's great for you, everything's amazing. But the truth is, I started where a lot of you guys started. In fact, I had a whole origin story before I launched my hugely successful travel businesses, right? And I realized it's been a while. We've added thousands of people to our community from different places. And I haven't really shared in a while. Where did I start? Where did I come from? The truth is, I grew up in the Midwest and was just a kid that kind of figured everything out, made a lot of mistakes along the way, all that good stuff. But really, where I reached a point in my life where I decided to make a huge leap into running my travel businesses full time and going head on to being a travel entrepreneur, a lot happened before that. It doesn't just snap your fingers and then, yeah, everything's great and I have these amazing giant businesses. A lot of life goes into that first, right? And I'm sure for many of you, you've had your own trials and tribulations. So, really for me, I think it starts back in when I was working in corporate. I was climbing the corporate ladder right out of travel school. I was working for a travel company and kind of worked for a couple different corporations, but really just trailblazed on the corporate level. So I worked in HR, I worked in organizational development, but I was all about the corporate life. And I was really good at getting results, not just for myself, but when I started running teams, I was amazing at getting my team to produce. So I had promotion after promotion after promotion. I was a supervisor, then a manager, then a director, then a VP. So went through this whole process in the corporate world. Living the life. My favorite thing to do was to go to the gym every day. I had a Z4 blue BMW convertible, traveling all over the world. I had teams that I managed all over the US and Canada. It was fun, right? When you're in your 20s, that's amazing. Hit 30 and got into that directorial executive branch of things, if you will, in the corporate world. And I started to see things kind of on the other side, right? So how things happen, the behind the scenes, how decisions are made. And it wasn't always an easy job. Like I eventually, once I was in organizational development, was on the HR side. So I was privy to changes that were going to happen. I had been through a relocation. I had been through acquisitions, downsizing, outsourcing, which is all code for people are losing their jobs, right? In one space or another. And that was tough. One time I remember, I knew what was coming because I was in human resources and I saw a table and it just had all these packets of severance packages on it, which means, people were losing their job in the coming days. And I just thought, oh my gosh, these are people that I have lunch with, that I see in the hallway, that I see in the elevator, and they have no idea this huge change is coming. And your heart just kind of sinks. Like the first time it's like, oh, this is overwhelming. And then you're doing it again for the next downsizing and the next outsourcing thing and the next thing that rolls down the hill. And it becomes tough, right? Shortly after I got married, about a year after we had our daughter, my first baby girl, and my only baby girl, but we had my daughter Bella, and that first child changes your perspective on everything. 12 weeks, and I was lucky, right? Some women came back after 6 weeks because that's how they do it here in the US. But I was fortunate enough to have 12 weeks. But on that 12th week and first day, I had to go right back to work and I had a business trip. And I will never forget this. Like it was really a turning point. To full disclosure, there's some guys watching, you might get some more information than you need to know here, but it's the truth and it's my story. I was nursing Bella at the time, right? So if you're traveling or you're going to be away from your child and you're nursing, you have to go through this process that we women call pump and dump. What does that mean? Well, your breasts fill with milk and you have to express that if you're traveling and not with your child, right? So I literally, right before I took this long flight from Texas up to Montreal, Canada, I had to go into the airport. And of course, there's no, they don't set it up for nursing mothers. So the only outlet where I can plug my little breast pump machine into is right there, in front of the mirrors and all that stuff. So I kind of have it under my shirt and it's like, wah, wah, wah. Like, how humiliating is this? And I'll never forget, this woman walked by and she said, "Oh my gosh, that's so dehumanizing. You should be home with your child. I can't believe you're having to travel. That's just ridiculous. I'm so sorry for you," or something like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, it hit me in my core. And I was like, wow, she's kind of right. Like, there's got to be a better way. And then I go up to Montreal, and I had an amazing team in Montreal. I'm still good friends with many of the folks up there. And in Canada, you get a year mat leave, and the mom or the dad can combine that time. It's really awesome, right? And everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, your baby's only 12 weeks," and just kind of like, "Wow, you left your baby and she's only 12 weeks." And I was like, wow, I'm like kind of like a social freak here because I'm back to work and here I am. And, at the end of the day, I'm exhausted because your body's different after you have a baby, right? And it just started to awaken something in me like, oh my gosh, there's got to be like a better way. Like, am I really going to live this lifestyle of, convertibles and gym memberships and traveling all over the world and stuff? Like, no, like once you're, a mom, maybe you can keep some of that stuff, but is it the right fit for me personally and for my husband? Because every time you travel, you have to, and I just didn't like being away from my husband or my daughter. So it just kind of awakened like an idea in me, like, is there something different? And the other thought that I had is I had been giving for so many years my life, my passion, working late nights, working weekends for a company that I know next week I might be preparing more packets for, to lay people off or outsource them or at any point I could be fired, outsourced, downsized, acquired by a different company, asked to relocate, because the profits were always going to come before the employees in this environment, for the staff. And I grew up in the Midwest, right? Like, your dad worked for the same company for like 25 years or 30 years, and then he retired, or your mom or whatever. Like, you worked for a company and you were down for that company forever. I can still tell you the name of my dad's company he worked for. But at any rate, I realized before my very eyes and in one generation, that is not the reality anymore. That is not the world that we live in anymore. And again, it's just kind of that little nagging, like something's awakening, something's happening. When I came back to Houston at the time, my husband had been saying for years, we should do our own thing. We should do our own thing. And he's got a master's degree. I have other talents. And we were kind of like, we'll figure something out. So we just started to kind of open up the conversation. And we're like, okay, what do we want, right? Let's figure out what we want. And, I always loved travel, but it was more like, let's try to figure out a really successful business we could do that has some support. And really what we were looking is we wanted family friendly hours. We didn't want to work weekends. We wanted to have something that we could work around our family and make our family number one. So we started researching and we came across a cleaning franchise, and I'm like, well, free house cleaning, tell me more. Like, that seems like a good benefit. And it was family friendly, no nights, no weekends. And we knew we were in a good market. Almost everyone uses a cleaning service in our area. And we thought, well, let's investigate this further. So I promise you, like, within 3 months, we had secured a huge SBA loan, which took a lot of work. We had to go to several banks, but we got an SBA loan. We took our entire savings and earmarked it for this project. And we were in business. 3 months later, we were in business. And then guess what happened? Oh my gosh, you guys. Literally 3 months after we opened our doors, we opened in July of 2008. Do you remember 2008? Do you remember what happened in fall of 2008? The giant recession. Everyone was losing jobs and downsizing. No one was hiring. We're like, oh my gosh, what did we do? I'll never forget. My husband looked at me and he's like, this shit better work. And we're like, we just decided to adopt a motto that failure was not an option. And it was hard. It was really hard. That type of business model in a good environment takes about 18 months to get what you call break even, like where the point where you're, making money and able to pay yourself. And, cause you have to do marketing, you have to hire employees, you have to pay for a lot of costs up front, like you have a storefront. So, and we were like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And we were running through this money so quickly. And we had to make some tough decisions along the way. About 6 months in, my husband's the numbers guy, and he was like, babe, he's like, I don't know if we're going to have enough to pay our mortgage in about 6 months. Like, it's that serious if it just keeps going this way, and we have no idea where it's going to end. And so knowing failure is not an option, what are we going to do? Because it was never an option to quit or walk away. Like, what choices did we have anyway? Like, we're in a recession. No one was even hiring. So we made some big calls. And so we decided to actually lease out our home, our family home, and we rented a little tiny, crappy little house, like 2 blocks from where our business was. And, oh, by the way, did I mention I'm pregnant at this point with our second child at this point in the story? So we have my daughter who's around 2 or 3 at the time. And I'm pregnant with the second baby. And I literally 8-9 months, we're moving our house into this tiny house, putting stuff in storage. Hot mess, trust me. A week after we move in, I went into labor early. Another surprise. And my son was born, so yay, that was awesome. So we're like, oh yeah, son's born. Okay, we're reserving our funds. It should be okay. It should be a happy time, right? Well, 5 days after my son was born on a Friday, I'll never forget, our office manager who helps my husband out, because I was planning to take at least a month or 2 off, right, to try to do a couple things from home. She quit 5 days after my son was born. And I'm like, okay. Like, and if you've ever had a baby, you're like, oh my gosh, what is happening right now? Your body's adjusting, you're tired, but again, failure was not an option. So what did we do? Well, we rolled my son's bassinet into my office in the cleaning business. And I had some blinds installed on my window, and I would shut my door and I would nurse my son and take sales calls at the same time, because failure was not an option. Oh my gosh. And you guys, it was the hardest thing we have ever done. Absolutely the hardest thing I have ever done. But slowly we started to grow, and then we exploded. And we ended up being the biggest office in Texas. We ended up being the fastest growing franchise in our network in the entire US. And although it was super, super hard, and I don't know if I would sign up for it again. No, I got the biggest gift out of that experience, because what I learned was, just like diamonds, when coal is under pressure, it produces diamonds. When I'm under pressure, I'm going to produce diamonds. If I can produce, not just business, other businesses were going out of business, right? So if we can not just stay in business, but grow in those difficult, devastating circumstances, oh my gosh, what else am I capable of? So I got this underlying confidence of, if I can stay in business when the chips are down, imagine what I can do in calm waters. If I can go through this huge storm and we're producing, imagine what we're going to do when the waters are calm. And we did. We kept growing that business. But it also opened up another awakening that said, oh my gosh, now that I have this fire inside and this confidence of we did this, it's kind of like a badge of honor during those difficult times. What if I now followed my bliss and really went after what I really loved and what I really wanted to do? And that's how the whole story began for launching our travel businesses that are now so hugely successful. And we have our show launching, right? Starting next month in April. Bliss to Abundance is our new TV show that's going to be launched out on Roku and Amazon via the Raven International TV Network, a 24/7 positive programming network. And I hope you guys watch it. I hope you're inspired by this story. Just sharing a little bit about my journey and how far we've come and how we started. And wherever you are today, whatever your dream is, whatever your bliss is, if you follow it and if you put that work and that mindset behind it, you really can live your best, truest, most amazing life. And that's what the show's about. That's what my mission and purpose is. I always say my mission is to motivate and inspire people to follow their bliss into abundance. And I hope that we do that. So think about a little bit today about what your bliss is and how are we going to get started. And I love you guys so much. I wish you so much love, so much abundance. And as always, I wish you the world. Take care, guys. Bye. If you haven't been to the show before, my name is Cindy Williams. I'm known as the travel career coach from careersonvacation.com. I've been in the travel industry for 20 plus years. I started back in the 90s, and I eat, breathe, and sleep travel. And my mission in life is to inspire and motivate people to follow their bliss into abundance. And I do that in several different ways. And one of them is this weekly live stream that I do to motivate and inspire you guys. And this month we're doing the most amazing topic. It's called Mayhem, from Mayhem to Manifesting. And I think we can all relate because we all have gone through periods where we're stressed out or things are chaotic. I've shared several stories over the chaos going through my life in the last couple months. And it's so crazy. I'm going to share the craziest story with you a little bit later. But if you didn't already catch the last two shows, they're available over on YouTube. Next month, they're going to be streaming on Roku and Amazon Fire. Did you guys hear about this announcement? So crazy. That's part of my crazy story, which we'll get to in a minute. So thank you if you're joining us for the first time. And one thing that I always do, and if you're on the podcast, you won't be able to see this, but come visit us over on YouTube or streaming. I always like to share a coffee mug because I have an insane coffee mug collection. And this is the only, okay, we're a little behind on dishes. Let's be real, like life happens. It's spring break right now, but this is the only mug left in my cabinet this morning. And I was like, this is the perfect mug for manifesting. It's like, oh, it's just high energy, right? So I love it. So let's jump right in. Last 2 weeks we've talked about getting out of chaos, getting out of the mayhem. How do you clear and set the stage for success? So again, go back and watch those if you didn't have a chance. But today is all about manifesting. So in past weeks, I've shared all the chaos that's happened with our move and unexpected things with the build of our home office, things that are shifting. And sometimes when you're manifesting in your life, things have to shift and move and, go different places to allow for new things to happen. So keep that in mind as you're going through any process if you're trying to accomplish big things and all that good stuff. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Juan. Hey, Lisa. Hey, Stacy. Some of my amazing clients watching today too, which is great. So as you guys think about, oh my gosh, how do I create something new in my life? And I want to start with a story straight out of the last week of my life. Sometimes I feel like the universe knows I'm going to be talking to you. So it's like, let's make this happen to Cindy and then she can share it with the world and show people this stuff really works, right? So if you guys have been following, I've been going through all this chaos with moving and shifting and just feeling behind in my own life. And normally I'm a natural, doer, get stuff done, high producing, all that stuff. So I have worked through that shift and all that good stuff, but got myself centered, set the stage, got back into a place where I'm like, okay, now I'm back in this creative mode and here we go. So, but towards the beginning of the year, before this chaos ensued, I was really clear, and most of you guys call it New Year's resolutions. Like, I don't really believe in New Year's resolutions because I am manifesting and goal setting every single month. And So it's something I do all the time. Don't just feel like you only can do it the first of the year, and then if you don't, you're not successful, it goes to the trash, and then next December 31st, you're thinking about it. No, like that's a mindset thing. But towards the beginning of the year, I got really clear on like, where do I want to take my businesses this year? So I run an award-winning travel agency, and then I run Careers on Vacation, which is this awesome program that teaches other people how to run portable, profitable agencies. But I was really like, how can I take my message to the next level? And so I do speaking events as well. And but I was like, I needed something more. And so I just started working on like getting more visibility for the company and kind of getting a stronger reach. And all these things started happening. Like we hit our number on YouTube, enough subscribers to get what's called a community. So we have a community running on YouTube. And last week, I got a call from an executive producer of a new network that's coming to Roku and Amazon. And she's like, I've been watching your live stream. I want you to have a show on our new network. It's a 24/7 positive programming network. It's called Raven International. If you guys haven't checked it out already, you can go to Roku right now and you can add the channel. Our shows are going to start streaming by next month. And I'm like, what is happening? And then I had another opportunity to turn our live streams into a podcast. And I'm like, I don't know anything about podcasting. Like, if you would have told me, like just 3 years ago, if you'd been like, Cindy, you're going to, have these amazing, successful companies. You're going to be living your bliss every day, having all the abundance that you dreamed of, doing what you love in travel. And you're going to be able to be helping all these people, which is, in my core, I'm a teacher and a coach. But you're going to have a show and you're going to have live streams and podcasts. And, 3-4 years ago, I didn't know anything about having a YouTube channel or any of this stuff. But as a result of just having a vision for my life and letting things unfold, I'm going to teach you exactly what I do today. That's what this session is about. So to fast forward in the story, literally got the call, got everything done within a week. We're getting interviewed, I think next week for the launch of the channel. But how crazy is that, you guys? Like, I'm just a kid from the Midwest, right? Like, I grew up in the Midwest and had a big dream, and I don't know, it's all unfolding, which is amazing, and I'm just happy to support you. So super, super excited to share that news, but just an example of how you can manifest stuff, getting clear at the beginning of the year and then shifting through this chaos that happens as when you make big change and you do big things in your life, sometimes other things have to break down or shift or move around to create this beautiful path that opens up. And that is like, I'm in that part now. Just feels way better than the chaos, right? So good. So let's talk about things you can do when you are, kind of in that place where you want to start manifesting. And you're like, oh, and look, I want to have a side note real quick. Like, people are like, oh, manifesting, and I know it seems, yeah, and whatever, and rainbows and unicorns. When I was first in the travel industry way back in the 90s, I didn't know anything about manifesting, but what I was in life was a natural manifester. What does that mean? So when I went out to the phones for the first time, I had been trained. Back then they would train you and then they would put you in a call center and you take 1 million calls. And some people didn't do well at all and some people did great, but they came in and they shared success stories. And they're like, this person sells $1 million, this person sells $1 million, and those people were held in high regard. I'm like, well, if they can do it, I can figure out how to do it. I'm smart. I'm ready. I want to learn. I love travel. And I went out in shortest amount of time ever, and not because I was a great salesperson, but because I just expected that everyone would want to go on a vacation. Vacations are awesome. Why wouldn't you want to go on vacation? So I expected every person that landed on my phone, I expected them to be a sale. Like, why wouldn't you go on vacation, right? So I asked for the credit card without hesitation, going into my clothes immediately, exactly the way that they trained us. And so as a result of just following that process and expecting to be successful, I was. But what this started to unfold in me was understanding that if you think about things, your mindset in a certain way, and now the science, I'm a science nerd, right? Like, I'm a little bit of a nerd across the board, but scientists have literally figured out that the world is vibratory. So you're in this vibratory universe. It's all quantum physics, but you really do attract what you're putting out into the world, or what you expect in the world can come back. So if you're expecting to not, pay your bills by the end of the month, sometimes that happens. It works with negative stuff the same way it works with positive stuff. What you think about, you bring about. You've heard coaches say that before. I did not create that. But what you think about, you bring about. That really is true. So where do you start? Let's go with number one. The first thing you guys need to do is protect your energy. It's so important to make sure you are keeping yourself in an environment that is, hey Karen, hey Julie, you guys' comments are coming through super fast, so sorry if I miss anyone. You have to protect your energy. And the first way that you can do that is assess your circle. Who is in your immediate circle? You are the average of the 5 people that are closest to you. So look at who's on your favorite list for your phone. Look at who do you have daily interactions with? Are they fanning your flame, or are they trying to put out your fire, right? So if they're not inspiring you, if they're not at least creating an environment where you can be successful, it can be really hard to break out, because if you have negativity, drama, chaos constantly in your day-to-day, you have to learn how to protect your circle. And the first place is just identify if you have people, things, activities in your life that are not supporting you on your journey. And at the end of the day, I teach people how to run amazing travel businesses. But what I really care about in my core is getting people to get in touch with what is your bliss and why aren't you following it, right? So anytime you have something that keeps you from that path, that's a problem, because you're not going to get to it as fast as most of us want to. And here's the thing, like, your bliss doesn't go away. That thing you want to do, that thing you're afraid to do, that thing that just keeps calling on you, whatever it is, whether it's travel, be a designer, whatever your thing is, design gardens, I don't know, whatever your thing is, it's not going to go away. And you get to make a choice of, am I going to move towards my path now, or am I going to let all this other stuff kind of get in my way? And the want and desire to do it is never going to go away. So taking some of these steps will help you clear that path and get there faster. And that's where this kind of stuff comes in, right? So look at your circle. And I'm not saying eliminate friends. Sometimes it's family, right? Let's be honest. But if it's happening, you have to identify and maybe limit your contact or keep certain people at an arm's length. That is okay. You are here on planet Earth. You're a spiritual person, a spiritual being in a human experience. Michael Beckwith says that. You are not a human being having a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being having a human experience. Let that resonate. So it is okay for you to protect your purpose and your mission, because you're all here for something, and for all of us, it's something different. Think about what it is, protect your energy. So some other things that you can do to really stay in, when I talk about protecting your energy, you want to protect it, but you also want to bring your vibratory state up. You want to bring your vibration up as much as possible. And look, it's not going to be 100%. Like, I'm not happy 100% of the time. I'm not productive 100% of the time, but I get a lot of stuff done in a short amount of time, and I reach huge goals because I keep myself in this environment that is very conducive to manifesting and to doing whatever I want to do with my life, whatever that happens to be in that week, month, year. So after you've cleared the negative, or kept it at arm's length, and created this beautiful circle where you can have the most opportunity to be successful, the next thing you want to do is ask yourself, are there things I can do to bring that state up and keep yourself in a high vibration? So this is things like, what do you do for self-care? Making sure you're taking time for walks, for maybe getting a massage, maybe you like to go to the movies, maybe you like to read a book. You can't pour from an empty vessel. We've said that on other, shows. But also, from the minute you get up in the morning, like, I have a playlist I play every day when I'm getting ready. I call it my Rise and Shine Rockstar playlist. And when I'm putting my makeup on, or reading my notes, or going through my emails for the day, I have it on in the background, because It's music that's light and bright and keeps me motivated. So it's something as simple as just putting 5 to 10 songs together on a playlist that you can play when you're feeling down or kind of in a funky mood. And sometimes I get low energy in the afternoon. We talked about energy a couple weeks ago, but when that happens, I just throw the music on. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling a little more peppy. Let me get a couple more things done before I close my day down. So, because when music changes your state of mind, it changes the energy around you if you allow yourself to get into that space. And then the other thing is give 0% of yourself to negative things. And not just people, but like the news. Oh my gosh, the news is always horrible every day. And when we were starting our first business way back in 2008, and the recession hit, and we're like, oh my gosh, we just dumped our entire life savings. Are you kidding? Now we're in a recession. We were like, what is happening? Hey, Kristen. Hey, Karen. Hey, Julie. We were like, what is going on? One of the first, we got the best advice, and this coach and mentor at the time was like, look, you got to turn off the news because it's bad. The world's about to crash. No one can afford anything. And here we are trying to sell a luxury type service that would be considered, not something maybe people need, but we still end up being the top producing office the next 2 years. But at any rate, part of that is because we got really clear on protecting our energy and staying focused and not listening to negativity. So give 0% of yourself to drama and chaos, and, stay informed with the news. That's important. But don't, watch news thing after news thing, and especially don't do it before you go to bed, because when you go to sleep, you're about to go into your subconscious state, which is where things can kind of start to unfold, and you're everything you're wanting to do has to kind of marinate. You don't want the news being top of mind. So that's step one. Step two is really taking radical responsibility, and understanding it's up to you. But this is like a delicate balance, because I don't want you having guilt over it either. So the first thing is stop playing the blame game. Anytime you have a tendency to go, well, the reason I can't be successful is because blah, or the reason Cindy can do that and I can't is because of blah, or the reason, so you see where I'm going with this? So when we start to say, you're giving your power away, right? So, and that, when you blame someone else and don't take ownership over the fact that maybe if you did something different or got different training or got different support or read a different book or whatever you need to do to follow your path, you're giving yourself like an excuse, right? When you blame someone else, it feels better because you're like, it's not my fault. I can let that go. But really, it's one of those things where you're giving your power away. You're going, I don't have control over my own success. When people tell me, because I coach, right? Just as much as we train people business and marketing, the mindset is so important. So when you say, I can't do that because of XYZ, or she has this, or he does this, or that's why he's successful, you're giving yourself that out to go, well, one, that's why I can't do it. And two, they're just lucky, or they're just whatever. You're giving your power away. Instead, you want to say, that person is at where they're at because they did a lot of work, and I could do that too if I chose to put the right time or resources or whatever. When people tell me that they can't do something, or they can't afford something, or they can't buy a technology that's going to make their business better, it's not that they can't afford it, they don't want it, any of those things. It's that it's not a priority. It's not top of the list. And that's okay, but just recognize, like, exercise. Like, I wish I was 30 pounds lighter, right? So, but I know, I'm like, well, the reason is because I don't get out and walk or go to the gym as much as I should. And so we are where I am where I am. And it's not, I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying, I know that I'm putting my work and my family and other things before my health. I know that about myself. I don't blame anyone or say, oh, the reason she looks so good is because she has time to go to the gym every day, or they don't have 2 businesses and kids, blah, blah, blah. Oh, it's BS. I'm not prioritizing my own health. That's the truth. So now that I know that, I can either make a decision to do something different, or it can sit there and low on the priority list. So again, there's no judgment on anything. Like, if your business isn't successful, or a relationship's not where you want it to be, or something like that, you have to recognize like you have ownership and accountability and you have the power to change it. So taking that responsibility can feel scary, because if you take it and then go, oh, I'm really not successful, then because you don't want to blame yourself. But here's the great news. You don't have to blame yourself. And that is not what this is about. It is about recognizing you have the power to change it, to flip the script, to pattern interrupt if you choose to. Or recognize that I don't care enough about my business to buy the next program that's going to help me, or I don't care enough about automation or making my time management better to really invest the time it takes to look at tools and get it supported, because I have my family's first right now, or my health is first right now. Again, no judgment, but understanding where stuff sits and taking ownership over, then you can get real. So when that other stuff does get into autopilot, you can go, you know what? I'm going to prioritize my health now, or I'm going to prioritize my business. I'm going to get serious about, leveling up in whatever different area. And if you're not successful in that area, my favorite quote is, worrying is like a rocking chair. You can do it all day, but it doesn't get you anywhere. I don't know where I heard that, but I've been using it my whole life. There is no benefit to making yourself feel bad or guilty or worried. That is wasted energy. And that goes back to number one, right? Like, spend 0% of your energy on negative things. And so many of us do this. We have guilt over not having the successful business, or not having the successful marriage, or not having the perfect kids or the perfect body, or whatever your thing is. But when you put yourself in a state where you're feeling guilty or ashamed, hey Steph, hey Rosa, hey Karen, when you put yourself in those states, it's just takes you further from your path. Like, it's not about blaming yourself. It's about recognizing you are not putting what you want to accomplish at the top of your priority list, being okay with it, or making a decision to do something different, taking your power back and deciding what you're going to do about it, or that it's okay that it's low on the priority list right now because you got other stuff going on. But not saying, oh, they're successful because of this, or she has a perfect marriage because of this, or blah, blah, blah. So when you can do this successfully, it really frees you up to get back in touch with your power to make change. So that's number 2, taking radical responsibility. And the last one's my favorite. So step number 3, I told you I was going to share my top 3. Invite what you want into your world. So wherever you are and whatever you're trying to manifest, what does it look like when you're winning? What does the life look like? What does the relationship look like? What does the business look like? What does the whole picture look like? You have to be clear on that, because you can't create something that you're not clear on. The universe gives you, like I said earlier, you bring about what you think about. So I'm going to give you some tools for this too, right? But the first step is get clear on it. Some people do this by creating a vision board, and there's a million vision board, workshops out there, or literally just get yourself a poster board and 30 magazines and flip through and pick what you want in life, right? I love vision boards. I use them on an annual basis. I still use them. I've been doing them for years. And I have manifested almost every single thing that has landed on those boards. But once you create them, then you can't just create them and then stick it in your desk drawer. So whether you create a vision board, or you create a plan where you write down what you'd like your life to look like, whichever you do, if you're a visual person or a written person, either way, then you need to have it in your daily consciousness. So the vision board needs to go somewhere you're going to see it every day, in your office, in your closet, on your bathroom mirror, or with the plan. I do a little bit of everything. I'm a little overboard, but I manifest a lot, right? So I have a written one too, that when I go through my morning routine, I actually read through exactly the next, what do I want my life to look like 6 months from now, or 12 months from now? And that is how my businesses were born. That is how my relationship with my husband of 15 years started. That is how we've been able to create successful business after successful business, because I put it down first. I was clear on exactly what I was trying to do and trying to accomplish. Beginning of this year, I used that story at the beginning when I go through and was like, okay, let's freshen up the goals. Let's freshen up the plan. I want more visibility for my company. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I want to reach more people. And, in my visions, it's like I'm reaching thousands and millions of people, not the norm, we're reaching thousands, which is great, but I want to reach millions. And then where are we now? And what is it, March? Not even the end of March when this is filming. And now we're going to be streaming. How crazy is that? So get clear, whatever your crazy big dream is, get it on a vision board or written down, and make sure it's in your day-to-day, so it's staying present. You should be thinking about it in the morning when you wake up, and you should be thinking about it last thing, not the news. Replace the news with what your new life is like you already have it. And look, I know it feels so weird. If you've never done it before, I get it. But if you take this same process over to the Boys Billionaire Club and you look at their daily routines and processes, they are doing the exact same thing. They just call it mindset. So whether you call it mindset or manifesting, anyone who is a millionaire, billionaire, beyond, if that's your thing, or has successful relationships, they are doing certain things, the way that they are thinking about and what they believe they can create, what they deserve, what they believe they deserve and expect in life. That is what is showing up in their reality because of their mindset or manifesting. Last night, I write myself the funniest notes. Sometimes I do these like earlier in the week and then I share them. So if you guys are watching, this is expect miracles. I know I have the worst handwriting. Expect miracles. Like sometimes I work with clients and their dreams are too small. They're like, I'd like to do this little thing. Hey, Christy. Hey, Rosa. Good morning. And I'm like, dream bigger, like you can do so much more. And I'll sit down and understand their life experience and what they've accomplished so far. And a lot of times the trauma that they've been through and the difficulties that they've been through in their life, because that's real stuff. That, you know, those don't come up in our life to shut us down. They come up in our life to teach us something in some fashion. And the way that the soul heals and moves past things, that becomes the next platform for you to get to the next level and up level and let all this stuff unfold. But as you guys are coming up with, you know, don't just go, you know, I'd like to move from the Prius to the Honda Accord. No, you want a Tesla. Or what, you know, what do you really, get in touch with what you really want if there were no limits, if you didn't believe, because really your limits are just what you believe your limits are, and that's the thing. And Kristen Lee says, double those sales. Kristen emailed me yesterday. She worked with me last year, and congratulations to her. She emailed me and said, Cindy, thank you so much. It's only March and I've already hit my 2019 goals. So Kristen, congrats to you. How amazing would you guys feel right now if you were 3 months into the month and you hit your goal for the whole year? So now Kristen's going to double and triple. She's probably quadruple because she hit her goal in 1 quarter. Let's just keep that success going. But that's the thing, guys. Dream a little bigger, expect a little bit more. So this is actually the last of our series, Mayhem to Manifesting. Next week, we have the coolest show happening. I am interviewing Kindwani Mwaze, and Kindwani has this amazing project started. He is the executive producer of 54 Lights. Go follow him on YouTube and his podcast. And he is shedding light on undertold stories from Africa. So definitely check in with us next week and watch that run on Wednesday. That's going to be an amazing interview as well. But listen, guys, if you are really trying to manifest a bigger travel business, that's what I specialize in. If you're looking to grow or supersize your travel business, and what I'm saying, what you're hearing is resonating with you, reach out to us at careersonvacation.com/ready-now. You can also visit the website at careersonvacation.com to find out more. You can apply for our mastermind program. We have limited spots every month where you get to work with me personally to understand how you want to either launch and grow, start a brand new business, or if you're already in business, how you can expand and grow if you're starting to get into building teams and performance management and marketing and all that fun stuff. That's what I really love. I'm a marketing nerd at heart. So reach out to us there. And listen, guys, in the meantime, I wish you the world. I wish you so much love, so much abundance. Thank you for tuning into the show today. And check us out next month on Roku and Amazon Fire. We'll talk soon. I love you guys. So much love. Hey guys, Cindy Williams here, travel career coach from careersonvacation.com. How are you on this fine Thursday? So this video is all about the lies that we tell ourselves that hold us back from our potential, that hold us back from becoming whatever it is that we want to become, right? So many times I hear, and I have gone through cycles of this myself in my life, right? I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not thin enough, I'm not young enough, I'm not old enough, whatever the story is. Do you tell yourself those things? And if you do you realize how it is sitting in your consciousness and really creating the world that you're in now, right? So, and you can't blame us, right? We've had years of programming, years of advertisements that tell us who we should be, how we should be, and if we're not, then we're less than or not, going to school and how they compare children to other children and, the bell curve, all that great stuff, in that competitive environment. So for years and years and years, all of us have, grown up in this society that this is this, think this, do this. And that's what creates sometimes that internal dialogue or those stories that we tell ourselves that start to hold us back. So today I wanted to just talk about that because I've had a couple clients recently just really struggling with kind of putting up walls in their own world that are holding them back from getting to the next place. So I want to tell a little story. So back in my 20s, I was going to this event with a friend of mine, and we were meeting other friends, another friend who he was there with his girlfriend. And we came in the room, we're like, hey, how's everyone doing, da-da-da. And he said, you know what, Cindy, I just love when you come to an event because you just light up the room, you're luminous. And I was like, wow, like that's a big compliment. There was nothing like chemistry-wise with me and this individual. Of course, I got a kind of a weird look from his girlfriend, of course, but he saw my light before I saw it, right? He saw my light before I saw it. I can always see the light in other people, and I bet you do too. You say, oh, she's great, he's great. They're, we can always see it. We can see it in our children, we can see it in other people, but sometimes we can't see it in ourselves. So, having that realization that, wow, this is how someone sees me, and understanding that you have to see your own light. You have to connect with that spark in order for you to kind of break free of this thinking and these, these constructs that you've created in your mind. And in our industry, if you're a travel agent, you're a work from home travel agent, you're work from home, or even if you're considering getting into the industry, we're kind of on an island. Well, sometimes physically we're literally on an island, but in our industry, because so many of us work from home, you don't have a lot of people around you. So what you're saying to yourself and the stories that you're telling yourself, those are the things that kind of exist in your environment. So it's really easy to get into a funk or to get into a spot where you can't get out of. Like, oh, my sales weren't good this month. Is this declining? Is this going to work? Is this going to blah, blah, blah? Your brain can be, work against you. So what I want to invite you to do is to start to see your spark, to see your light. It doesn't matter, especially in this industry, it doesn't matter what size you are, what race you are, what religion you are, how old you are. None of that matters. None of it matters. You can be successful if you choose to be successful, right? But it's the stories that kind of bring us back and keep us from getting in connection with our spark. In fact, when you make the decision to settle for just good enough or settle for just being okay, you extinguish your spark. You put it off, you push it off. And guess what? You know when you're not living up to your potential. You know. You already know. Or if you've been thinking about getting in travel and you're like, oh, I want to do this, but I just don't know what to do or how to do it. You know the passion is there, but you're choosing to look away because good enough is good enough. So when you turn away from your spark in that way, it starts to diminish, right? But when you start to acknowledge your spark and you start to lean in a little bit, that's when the magic starts to happen. You start to say, you know, maybe I am smart enough. Maybe I am young enough. Maybe I am, you know. So not just maybe, but yes, you start to lean in. That's when the magic happens. And then when you start to foster your spark, when you start to fan your flame, that's when miracles happen. When you lean all the way in and you take all the limits off and you start to tell yourself a new story and a new narrative about who you are and who you're going to be and the type of company you're going to run, that's when the miracles start to happen in your life. And that's with everything, not just with your business. So I ask you to think about, what does your daily inner dialogue sound like? Does it sound like what we were talking about earlier? I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not whatever the construct is. Would you say those things to your child? Would you say those things to your best friend? Probably not. So why the hell are you saying them to yourself? So the first step is just recognizing the dialogue that's going on in your mind so you can change it. So 3 quick steps. How do I get out of this? How do I change it? How do I get to that next level? Number 1, change your vibration. You have to do something in your life to get your vibration change. Whether that's for some people it's listening to music, for some people it's exercising, for some people it's taking a quick weekend trip. Just get out of your own head, you know, and change that vibration, change a pattern. So you can, you know, you have to physically change the energy in your body. That's the first thing in order for that to have that kind of opening to change the rest. The second is tune in and acknowledge the dialogue. But then the next step is to start to change the dialogue. What's your new story going to be? I want you to think about, what is the greatest expression that you can visualize for yourself? Your greatest life you can possibly have. The greatest expression that you can live in this lifetime. I want you to start resonating, start thinking, start meditating on, what is that? What does that mean? And then when you do these things, you change your vibration, you change your dialogue, and you start getting in a place where you see yourself as that new person. You see yourself with a successful business. You see yourself traveling the world and having all the abundance you need. Your vibration has to come up to match that, has to show up in your reality. But if you keep telling yourself, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not young enough, I'm not whatever enough, that's what gets you, it draws you back. It's pulling you back from your potential, from your spark. So pattern interrupt. Tune in, change the dialogue, tell your new story, figure out what that is. You know, what I always say is, like, my job is just holding up a mirror for people. Like, holding up a mirror. I see your spark and I hold up a mirror so you can see it. So if you're working solo, you don't have a coach or whatever, you don't have that added, you know, piece in your life, you have to do it for yourself. So hold up the mirror, you know, see what your spark is, hold on to that, figure out what that's going to be. You are beautiful. You are capable. You are a rock star. You're unique. You're glorious. You're amazing. You're creative. You're luminous. If you have no one to tell you that today, I want to tell you that. So whether you're a travel person, whether you're however you found this video, I want you to know that. Sit with those things. Everyone has a spark. Everyone was created to be their best reflection, best expression of themselves. So what are you doing about it? You have to take these steps to make a change if you're not happy where you're at today. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I just wanted to jump on. I know it's easy to get into a funk and get negative, but as we head into the weekend, think about this. How can you change your vibration? Can you fan your spark? How can you get to that next place? Because I want everyone to have the most love, most abundance in this industry, and be in a great place with how you are thriving and becoming, and just your inner luminary. Like, I want everyone to be as luminous as possible. So I hope this video was helpful. Click a CTR down below just so we know that you guys are enjoying the videos, and we'll make more of them. And then connect with us on YouTube, Instagram, all that great stuff. We have videos that go on all the time. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Heather. Thanks for tuning in today. I love you guys, both clients. Yay. All right. You guys have a great weekend. Take care.